yeah, now this is the good stuff. Christmas music? Check. Giant snowmen? Check. Regular sized snowmen? Triple check. Yup, I'm thinking this is the definitive ice world of this generation. Okay, slight exaggeration, but Banjo Kazooie's fifth world, Freezeezy Peak, is many people's favorite, and for a good reason. This level has quality theming, mysteries, and a layout that's a lot of fun to traverse. Let's cut to the chase here. This place is extremely open, and thanks to flight pads you are free to explore the whole level, no strings attached. This is a lot more freedom than you normally see in a Banjo Kazooie, as the other huge levels generally put a clamp on your ability to fly. Quick Clock Wood puts all sorts of limitations on your flight, and Gobi's Valley mostly takes place inside little dungeons, so you don't really get to capitalize on your airborne nature. The layout itself is standard Banjo Kazooie fare, of course, it's just upscaled. You got a huge landmark in the center you can climb around like a jungle gym, with several points of interest scattered about in a circular fashion, with smaller offshoots for easy navigation. Now, to be fair, a lot of this level is kind of lifted from other places. It's basically a reinvention of Snowman's Land from Super Mario 64. That one also had a giant snowman in the middle, as well as hazardous patches of chilly water. So while Freezeezy Peak isn't the most original idea, its presentation really sets it apart. Rather than go for generic Ice World, there's a very strong Christmas theme that adds a splash of personality to the setup. Bright Christmas presents, cozy cabins, and other colorful set pieces draw your eye. These points of interest, as well as the standard lineup of collectibles, really pop out, pulling your attention so you're always drawn towards something. While this effect is true with every Banjo Kazooie level, the pure white snowy background gives it all a lot more contrast than usual. Now, I wouldn't let the pretty picture lull you into a false sense of security, however, as this level is in fact harder than the previous world, Bubble Gloop Swamp. It just does it in a slightly different way. For starters, your biggest enemy here is yourself. In case you haven't noticed, the snowman in the center is very, very tall. The water surrounding it is very, very shallow. You are extremely likely to kill yourself by slipping off that snowy jungle gym, as gravity is a very powerful killer in this game. There's dangerous cold water too, but it kills slowly, so it's more of an inconvenience, if anything. I actually really like this setup as it works the way you expect it to, though it's not likely to land a kill. However, the most threatening thing in this world are the enemies, the horrific Sir Slush. These Frosty the Snowman knockoffs are the strongest enemies in the entire game in ways both intended and unintended. For the first time, you're up against something you can't smack, you can't egg, and can't Wonder Wing away. His snowballs are uncannily accurate and they cover the whole map. So what the hell are you gonna do? Bottles is there to support you, of course. He's got a move for the job. But sadly for you, it's the jankiest attack in the whole game. The Beak Bomb. You see, this is your crash course into the finer parts of aerial combat, and it's really important you're forced to master this now before you're expected to pull it off in a 30-minute showdown with Gruntilda. On paper, it's easy enough. Push the B button, rocket forward, and kick off Sir Slush's magic hat for an instant kill. Unfortunately, aiming this thing is extremely difficult. It always seems to launch you towards the center of where the camera is pointing, which is hard to pull off when you're fine-tuning your aim. It doesn't help the snowmen are so accurate, they're actually going to be hitting you the whole time like a flak cannon. While it's a little frustrating, I do actually think this is an interesting challenge. Beating up all the Sir Slushes will rack up a jiggy, though it doesn't beat the satisfaction of getting them to shut up and stop laughing at you. While these guys are definitely the most dangerous, they're not the only enemy running around. There are these ice cube enemies that split up when you give them a smack, but they're more of a footnote than anything. Realistically, it'll be the snowman or falling that kills you. Also, fun fact of the episode, their designs look almost identical to a boss from Donkey Kong Country 3, which also laughs and throws snowballs at you, oddly enough. In addition to the standard platforming jiggies, the level sports two mini-games, first being a little challenge with stopping gremlin things from eating light bulbs. You know, typical Christmas fare. Afterwards, just turn on the tree, fly through the star, and that jiggy is yours. Also, this is somewhat of an odd time to bring it up, but personally, I always thought the buildings being bigger on the inside trope of old platformers was extremely charming. The level's big minigame, however, is racing with Boggy the Bear, twice. The first time, it's a rough but doable course that requires you to use a Mumbo transformation. The second time, it's impossible. Well, until you get the zippy shoes from the next world. This is actually the only bit of necessary backtracking in the entire game. It's one of the reasons Banjo Kazooie was often considered better than Donkey Kong 64 and Banjo Tooie after it. Not coming back means you can clear most of these worlds in a single sitting, which has a certain degree of satisfaction to it, admittedly, though really it boils down to personal taste. Rare saw a lot of value in backtracking, and whether you disagree with them or not, it would become a theme in later collectathons of the period. Boggy the Bear himself is actually the most fleshed out character in this game, oddly enough, and the only character that dishes out multiple jiggies. He actually lives in Freezeezy Peak, and you actually get to visit his family too. This really works for the game, as it helps bring the world to life a bit. This concept became a pretty big trend in platforming, with games like the Spyro series featuring a large cast of friendly native NPCs in each and every world. It makes for a more engaging call to action, if nothing else. There actually is also a second friendly NPC running around the map. Well, friendly is a bit of an overstatement. Wazza the Walrus has extreme prejudice against bears. Unfortunately, he also has a Jiggy, so you're gonna need Mumbo's help to turn into a walrus as well. What's funny is Wazza looks almost identical to the walrus boss from Diddy Kong Racing, in case you were unaware. A lot of character designs were passed around through Rare's various games. It's a bit of a trademark of theirs. Anyways, Wazza isn't exactly the most exciting Jiggy around, but his cave does hold a little oddity, to say the least. Yeah, of course I was gonna talk about the Ice Key. That inaccessible delight just sitting behind this window. The key is so infamous, it's practically a meme at this point. You can punch in a sandcastle code to pick it up, but it doesn't do anything besides play a little tune. This thing actually gets a proper use in Banjo Tooie, but in Banjo Kazooie, the sole purpose was to fuel internet-born conspiracy theories. Now, one thing I do consider a worthwhile investigation is the fact you can find mention of this little key in the game files of Donkey Kong 64, though it could very well mean nothing. I'm hoping one of these days we get some sort of leak, though. Oh, that reminds me of a kind of a hilarious conspiracy. There was a lost song from Project Dream. That's what this game was before it became Banjo Kazooie. It was about a little boy going after pirates. Anyways, the song was called Advent. Now, in case you were like me and totally blind, the level entrance to Freezeezy Peak is an Advent calendar. People came up with all sorts of loony plots as to what the song could mean and that maybe there was some connection to some lost level. People even went so far as to fake videos of the song playing when you use cheats to moon jump your way into the world ceiling. This is all hilarious in retrospect when Grant Kirkhope, the guy who wrote Advent, said it simply stood for adventure, as it was an old map theme for Project Dream. So yeah, that's your bit of intrigue for the episode. Beta material for this world is a bit on the sparse side, though the audio is kinda cool. Get it? The music for this course actually went through multiple iterations, which is fairly unusual for this game. It went through 3 iterations total. While the 2 most recent sound pretty close to the final product, the original song predates Freezeezy Peak entirely, dating back to the really old days when this game was, yet again, just Project Dream. The Ice World concept then was named Prickly Pear Island. Here's a little sample. Yeah, it sounds chilly. Christmas clearly wasn't on their minds at the time. Now, what are my thoughts on the level? Personally, I love it. You see, I love ice levels. It's probably because I'm a masochist, but there's just something about that theme that always gets me going. And Freezeezy Peak is a very good ice level. It uses an open level plan and flight to really let you explore and stretch your legs for the first time in this game. The snowmen add a little bit of the good kind of frustration, making you really want to sock it to them and claim the play area for yourself. All the jiggies here are pretty well thought out and involve a lot of interaction with the game world. With that being said, I don't think it's necessarily the best level in the game. Many of its core ideas are actually lifted from other games. The racing, cold water, and even snowman enemies. A giant snowman in the center, these are all from Super Mario 64. Later levels will really get innovative and offer more unique scenarios, though Freezeezy Peak definitely ranks among the best. And so, with that, we've covered all things Freezeezy. This level sorta comes back. Hailfire Peaks and Banjo Kazooie very strongly resembles this world and may very well take place in the same region of the Banjo-verse. Boggy and his family would also go on to play a pretty big role in Banjo Kazooie, and come back yet again in Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. And if this has gotten you into the Christmas spirit, I have a very festive recommendation for you. Another 3D platformer from this gen that would take a stab at making a Christmas level. Much like the rest of the game, Gex 3's Christmas World will give you a ton of holiday cheer in its rawest form. Some side effects may include cluster headaches and ear bleeding, but it'll all be worth it, I swear. And that wraps things up for today. Give this video one big thumbs up if you want to know help me out or something. No pressure. Anyways, until next time, see ya!